Good evening and welcome to the March 7th, 2023 meeting of the ARPA Committee for East Bridgewater. Tonight we have a discussion with Mr. John Shea of the Recreation Committee and the School Committee, School Department. And we do have a quorum.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine, absolutely fine. So, I know you're on a short schedule, John, so just want to get started. So I think we would like to request that on the turf installation request, just redo the whole request as fixing the drainage.
Sure.
So it makes sense, because it's just so much different.
Yep.
Price-wise and everything else.
I did talk to John Haynes. He has some old quotes from a company that did a quote like 5 years ago.
Yep.
I asked him to update those quotes, or that quote. So he wanted to know, so this company is really busy. They're one of the only ones around that do a lot of this work. So he wanted to know what the possibility was of this moving forward, and I told him I think there's a good possibility that the ARPA committee may move this forward, so he thinks that he may be able to get that company out quicker to give us a quote, so I will do that.
All right, appreciate that.
I'll ask him to schedule the,
I sense that we'll be seeing you at another meeting anyway.
probably. We gotta be nearing the end, I think.
All right, welcome, Gigi. All right, so why don't we start tonight with replacing the doors in the Mitchell School, and
Yeah, I thought we talked about that one.
we have talked about it, but there was a question at one point about, there was a lot of glass that had to be dealt with in one of the schools, I forget which one it was.
Mitchell.
All right,
Mitchell.
and
I don't have any updated quotes, but I could talk to Brian Kiley to see if he can work with, probably be two companies to work out some type of plan. One of the big components over at the Mitchell School, there's a lot of technology things that need to get done for the doors, fob system, visual readers when people come in. So I filed the grant for that 2 weeks ago. So that may reduce some of the cost of the original $300,000 we asked for. Hopefully I filed the grant appropriately, and we should be finding out this month whether I get the money to do that. I think the total for the grant was $45,000 for Mitchell.
okay,
So that would take care of a lot of the technology, but there's still some physical stuff that would need to be done. So I can work with Brian Kiley on that, and I'll have a result of my grant filing to come up with a better estimate.
okay. Anybody else have any questions? Mitchell Central School entrances?
So that 300,000 does not include what the grant would cover, right? That's just
Originally, I had planned it to include that.
two. Okay, so it would go down if
Hopefully.
hopefully, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And Dan, housekeeping wise, can you do minutes for tonight?
Sure.
I've gone through the whole team so far. We don't want to get to me. All right, thank you for that. All right, so the $300,000, we'd save $60,000 off if you got the grant.
I think
45.
45.
So it'll be $255 then instead of $300.
Yeah, that's assuming my back of the napkin estimate is correct.
Anybody, anything else? So I think it's just based on what you just said, we really don't want to vote. I'm trying to get things voted on if I
Right.
can, but we're not really prepared. We gotta see how that comes back.
Yep.
And get some of the stuff from Brian Kiley.
Yep.
So probably 3 weeks.
I will plan on 3 weeks.
And that's not cast in stone, we'll see where we are, but just,
I'm
that'd be enough time for you to get done with.
hopeful it would be.
Is that enough?
It
Need
should-
more time?
3 weeks gives me a goal. If you said 5 weeks, it would take me 5 weeks. If you say 7 weeks, it may take me 7 weeks.
Tomorrow.
All right. We're gonna keep moving. Sensitive to your needs. Lighting on Church Street?
Lighting on Church Street, that was changing out the field lighting
Yep.
to LED.
All right, did you have a chance to check with National Grid to see if they would help?
No, but I am in contract with National Grid on something else, so I will, I've been working, just as a side note, we're redoing the sound system at the Mitchell School, and we were able to secure about 35,000 rebate from National Grid for that.
Oh,
So, it was either 35 or 25. So National Grid is,
still philanthropic?
well, there's a lot of incentives out there for LED and
Yeah.
electric vehicles and things like that, so.
Now, John, do you go through National Grid or is it Mass Save and something like that?
For the,
Because they usually funnel you through to someone else.
yeah,
I know.
so for the vehicles, I've been working with, excuse me for being rude on my phone, but I'll give you an answer. ECF, which I believe is a component of National Grid. For the Mitchell School lighting, the vendor did all the work on.
They go for the rebates and
Yeah.
anything. Oh, okay, that's nice.
All right, let me take down some notes so once the school budget gets done, I might be able to get my life back.
Hey, what?
National Grid, field, quote, Mitchell, Central, Security.
So there are lights on all the fields? Most of them?
There are lights on this side of Church Street, on the baseball and the softball field.
Yeah, there are no lights in.
Yeah, there's no
the
lights on
pool.
Kiwanis or Superior Pool, right? Yeah.
Any plan to include those, or?
Well, I mean, I could. I mean, the cost of installing lights is fairly significant, but I could talk. I mean, there's electrical out there. We're planning on fixing the lights on the basketball court and the other court. So, yeah, I mean, sure.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Like, again, we probably still wanna wait.
I'm sorry.
We probably still wanna wait for a future date to vote.
Yeah, so we hear back from National Grid.
Sure.
And what's the response time in regards to once you inquire?
I don't know.
Well,
for the-
currently working right now.
For the vehicles, very quick.
Very quick, okay. And how about the vendors with the EC, with the?
That was fairly quick, couple weeks.
Okay. So do you wanna give them a timeline again?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
In the installation of the turf we talked about.
Yeah.
Resubmit.
That's really not installation of turf anymore, that's
Right, that's
Drainage.
fixing
Yeah.
the drainage.
Yeah, the whole thing is kind of changed.
Yep.
All right, and school pickup truck.
School pickup truck. We have, last year, we had taken over the prepping of the fields for games and practices. We have a custodian now that does that. During the winter, he's inside. During the spring and summer and fall, he's outside every day. But even before that, our custodians are using their personal vehicles for moving, if they have to move one box to one school to another, if they need to run to Dewhurst to get some tools, which I never thought was right, that people should be using their personal vehicles. But when last year, once we started taking over the prepping of the fields, we found that, this particular custodian drives a small hatchback, and he has to go from Strong's Field. When the softball field's too wet, he has to go to Church Street, and I think it's only fair that he should be able to use a town vehicle with space in the back to move equipment and line to line the fields and a liner and things like that.
Okay.
And it definitely has future use.
Yeah.
So it's a good investment.
So I did, the town of East Bridgewater is part of the Plymouth County Public Vehicles and Equipment Consortium. I was able to, they have a listing of, we're not looking for an F-350 diesel, V10 or whatever they are. We're looking for a simple F-150. The prices range with a regular cab anywhere from $34,000 to $30,000 to $42,000. But yesterday, I was on a conference call that was set up by the town with National Grid. They're really pushing electric vehicles. So I contacted them this morning, and they are going to get me a quote for an electric pickup. Electric vehicle pickup. They said that they're offering a lot of rebates and incentives. So that may have to hold off for 3 weeks also. If you agree with the request.
In the case of non-electric, would it be maintained by DPW guys?
DPW, yeah.
Yeah,
It would be a Ford, which is what our mechanics prefer. And the electric vehicle would also be a Ford.
Do they have the capability of working on electric?
I believe so. They were on the webinar.
Can we confirm that?
I can confirm that. For the DPW purposes, an electric pickup, I don't believe would suit them because of the plowing capability and things like that. But for us, we're not plowing. We're using
We
it.
got snow blowers.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. But I think we'd want to check on that, because we don't want to, can you check on that?
Yeah,
as part of when
definitely.
you come back? Anybody else have any pickup questions?
I don't remember exactly how it was finalized, but wasn't there a question about the town having other vehicles that they get rid of or turn in or trade in, whatever? And that would be a possibility, because you're not talking large numbers of miles. You're talking short runs in town mostly.
Right.
Correct?
Correct. I can check with the town too.
Oh, in terms of like trading in vehicles?
Yeah, I don't know, I believe they may lease their pickups for the DPW, so I don't know, but
I would imagine it would be leased.
Hmm?
I would imagine it would be leased.
I think they are.
Yeah, I think, I just remember it being tossed around the first time we discussed this.
The least
Something
to own.
about,
Yeah, at least,
because I guess there's a vehicle that's in a parking lot on a daily basis that doesn't get used. This is what I remember the conversation being, I'm not sure.
no, you're right. Yeah,
You
that
know,
was
and,
discussed.
if there's another vehicle in town that's available,
Mhm.
do we need an additional vehicle?
I will check on that.
I mean, obviously, you're not gonna have a vehicle that's in demand, so you have to wait for something just to go to the store, but.
I think he was saying like that equipment, like maybe that vehicle may not be equipped to do the work that's needed for the fields. So it could be like.
Well, that's a
regular
possibility too, yeah.
So like,
that
it'd be
would-
like a regular four-door sedan that the
You
town
know,
has, but
you
that
know,
cannot do the job.
Yeah, no, I mean, there would be a lot of contingencies, I think, yeah.
I think logically though, the DPW has a truck, it's bigger and stronger than the simple F-150, like you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they're going to get rid of it,
Right.
be happy to take it.
Right,
If it still has life in it.
Mm-hmm.
or trade it in, like you were saying, to get the incentives.
All right, so that was the 4 items you had open, that area.
Still open.
Right, but
3 weeks.
we're getting 3 weeks closer. So I appreciate you coming tonight, John, and hope you have a good time at your next meeting.
Me too.
Yep.
I already get 5 texts. I don't know, something's going wrong in the
Something's going wrong.
auditorium.
Thank you again.
And-
Thank you.
You,
Thanks.
John.
Night. All right, obviously, we're not gonna vote on anything, but, I think we are moving closer. Is there anything anyone else would like to talk about? Actually, before that, why don't we, did everyone have a chance to review the minutes that Ken sent out?
You know, I wanted to mention that, because I had sent out one, but then I revised it.
Yes.
Can we just ignore the revision? Because the first one is the correct one.
Yep.
I printed both, but.
We need 2 votes.
So somebody make a motion, and we're gonna vote on the original.
I'll make a motion.
Someone second?
Second.
Dan? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? All right, when you sent those out, did you send them to Rebecca?
I'm sorry?
Did you send those to Rebecca?
No,
Okay.
just to Charlie, I think. I'm sure I didn't send it to Rebecca, but I did send it to Charlie.
Okay.
I can forward her
Yeah,
the original
Yep.
tomorrow.
that way it'd be clear which one it is.
Yep. Just Rebecca?
Yep.
Lee doesn't get it. Lee,
No.
okay.
All right, so, gonna figure this out for next week's meeting. 3:14, gonna try to have, Diane Phillips on the Sachem and Bennett Trails, and Officer, I think it's Curtin for premium pay. And then the town signs are still an open item. So again, this is the one where we have 2 from the school and 1 from the town. And there's gonna be a number of signs all over town if we have all these, end up with 5 or 6 towns, since the high school has 2 already. So we wanna get them to coordinate, and we're working on, point of contact for the coordination of that project, or those 3 projects.
we had three varying prices, and we were kind of hoping that they could get quantity discount by combining and having three consistently at the same price.
Right, and have the functionality and the look be consistent
Mhm.
also.
And then my question, I think, was, do we need 5 signs within a half-mile radius? That's not for us to determine, someone else, if we, Yeah. Sign overload,
Right.
yeah.
All right, so we'll invite Diane, we'll invite Officer Curtin for next week, and then the following week,
Nancy Hill is all set for next week too, right?
I was trying to think, I thought there was
Yeah.
somebody else. All right, so Nancy Hill.
Because she is contacting Brian Keeley. And she is actually, they have looked into the cost from our discussion. And, that first 600,000 was kind of thrown out there. But I got the impression, and I don't want to speak for her, but they have a number of alternatives that are less than the 600.
And was the handicap still not an issue? Or was it something they were looking into?
That I'm not sure about with the pavilion.
ADA?
Yeah, I don't know if that was discussed on the pavilion yet. We'll find out next week.
It was mentioned that it had to be, but we weren't sure.
Yeah, we talked about that with the trails, which we kind of thought that was a little over the top to try to make the trails.
Yeah.
That was a consideration.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know about the pavilion. I thought, I don't recall the original discussion with Nancy when she was here about that, whether there was ADA involved in that. I would imagine with the Council on Aging,
yeah,
that would be part
that
of
would
it.
be part of it.
Yeah, and that would jack the price up,
Yeah,
right? It's not just a,
that's what I thought that was like
Yeah.
a big sticking point.
yeah, it's not just a shed. You need a lot more than that. Just, you need more than a roof and
Yeah.
some uprights.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
All right, anybody have anything else they want to talk about tonight?
Do we know the select board is, the recommendations that were given, or, I mean, I don't watch the select board meetings unfortunately, but,
I don't know, I don't even know if they may
Containing any
be
of the-
waiting till they all come in.
I
Oh,
That's
they
an
are?
interest, no,
I think that's what Charlie said, is that
Yeah.
they were gonna wait until
they were like on a rolling basis, or are they waiting
Yeah.
for?
I think they said they were gonna wait for all
All
of our
of them, okay.
recommendations, and that way maybe they can rank them.
Prioritize on
Yeah,
their list,
exactly,
okay.
yeah.
So based on our list, not including the ones we already talked about, could we complete this like right shortly after the 21st of March?
Yeah,
Do you think we can?
remember that deadline, April
I
15th?
don't think we're.
3 weeks?
As a-
You
as
got it here.
As a board, I think we're on the hook until 2026 or something, 27, after, I think it's like 4 years from when it's.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, we can have all our recommendations made by whatever time. And it wouldn't be a surprise if we made recommendations and the board came back to us on something,
Right,
Yeah,
Right.
Clarification, right.
Want
Yeah.
some more information, yeah.
yeah.
alternatives or things like that.
No,
Yeah,
we're
I
not
think that would be
accepting any
expected.
more applicants.
Right,
Or-
the applications are closed at
else?
this point in time, but my understanding is it could possibly reopen if we go through and there is money left.
Yep.
But given the budget that we got, it seems like the money is like appropriated for pretty much, unless we get better.
But some of
Figures.
that's changed, right?
Big-
Some of that's
Some
going
of them
down.
changed, yeah, like
It was a
that,
big change with $800,000
Yeah, with the,
coming off
yeah,
one.
the
yeah,
field
one
went,
of the-
yeah,
right, I'm
from
saying,
1 million to,
yeah, to
you
like
know,
what?
Yeah.
60,000 or
$100,
something like
yeah,
that. yeah.
right, right. Yeah,
We should probably look at that for next week.
I think especially where the selectmen are going to be the ones that rule on the amounts,
yes,
then pretty much it's up to us to just say yay or nay and let them decide where the money's going.
That's what we
That
were
makes
told,
sense.
right?
Right, well, that's,
Yeah, that's
Way
how
it
we
works.
understand it. So
Yeah.
I keep coming back to that. I mean, it's dollar signs.
The law is, yeah, forget about it, just, that's up to them.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, again, like, I think we talked about before, is a lot of these things are already requested for the capital committee.
Right.
To go to town meeting in May. So the more we get done by May, the more open that is.
yeah,
And if it happens that we get by that point, we haven't made the decision, right? Then the capital committee can approve it. But if turns out they get the money from us, then they just don't get the funding.
Mhm.
mm.
Makes sense.
All right, one more time, anybody, anything?
No, I'm good.
Lottery number tonight or something? I got it all. All right,
Motion to adjourn?
motion made,
Second.
made and seconded. Nadia, Ken? And all in favor? Just
Aye.
unanimous? All right, we'll see you,
Next week?
next week at 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.